Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down a new approach to AI governance called arifOS. Now, the idea here isn't to build a better AI, but to build a better set of rules to govern any AI.
Okay, so let's dive right in by first understanding the core problem arifOS was actually designed to solve. We're all getting pretty used to AI assistants, right? But what happens when their confidence starts to outpace their accuracy?
So this quote you're seeing, it's a real-world example from the system's own documentation. An AI suggested some imaginary workflows, and it led to a real financial loss. This is a perfect illustration of what we call hallucination, where an AI just states something false with incredible confidence. And as you can see, this isn't just some quirky bug. It causes tangible harm, and it really breaks down the trust between us and these machines.
So how do you stop that from happening? Well, the solution from arifOS isn't to try and create a smarter AI that just never makes mistakes. The approach is totally different. It's to build a better system for governing it. Basically, a set of hard rules that the AIs simply cannot break.
Think of it like a real-time court that examines everything an AI says before you ever get to see it. This governance layer, or what they call a constitutional shell, it acts like an automated supervisor, and its whole job is to make sure every single output is safe, true, and kind, all according to a set of laws that are defined by humans, not by the AI itself.
What's really interesting here is the analogy they use. You see this word, entropy, right? All it really means is disorder or chaos. A standard AI can be a very high entropy system. It's creative, it's fluent, but sometimes it's just chaotic, and often that comes at the cost of truth. arifOS, on the other hand, acts as a cooling mechanism. It reduces that chaos to create a low entropy, more orderly state where truth and safety are the absolute priority. The authority literally shifts from the unpredictable AI over to a stable, human-defined constitution.
So how does this constitutional shell actually work? Well, the core of the arifOS architecture is this trinity of internal agents, or as they're called, guardians, that check every single output. It's kind of like a separation of powers for the AI's thought process, almost like you'd see in a government. First up, every single response the AI wants to give goes to the logic guardian. Its one and only purpose is to act as the architect of the response. It's looking for clarity and factual integrity. It asks that fundamental question, is this true and does it actually make logical sense?
Next, assuming the response passes the logic test, it gets handed off to the empathy guardian. This one acts as an auditor, and it's responsible for tone and safety. It's asking, is this kind and is it humble? And here's a really interesting detail. It enforces a mandatory uncertainty band, which means the AI can never be 100% certain. This is built in to prevent it from sounding arrogant.
And finally, the output reaches the judge. The judge acts as the magistrate, pulling together the inputs from both logic and empathy to issue a final, binding verdict. It's the one that decides that the AI's response is lawful and can actually be released to the user.
Now, these guardians aren't just making things up as they go along. They enforce a really strict, predefined constitution. In arifOS, this is built on what are called the 9 constitutional floors. These are foundational rules that an output can never ever fall below.
And there are 9 of these foundational laws in total. They form the ethical and the operational bedrock of the entire system, and they cover everything from factual accuracy and clarity all the way to human dignity and safety.
Let's look at a key example. The very first law is Amanah, which is the Malay word for trust. This is what's known as a hard veto law, and that means there are absolutely no exceptions. If the AI tries to do anything manipulative or destructive or deceptive, this law acts as an immediate kill switch. It just voids the response right then and there.
And then there's this other law that I think is fascinating and really illustrates the system's philosophy. It's F9, Anti-Hantu. Now, Hantu means ghost or spirit, so you can think of this as the no-ghost law. It explicitly forbids the AI from faking emotions or consciousness or pretending it has a soul. This makes sure the AI always stays an honest tool and prevents it from ever emotionally manipulating the user.
So, after an output has been checked by all the guardians against these 9 laws, what happens next? Well, the judge issues one of 3 possible verdicts.
Okay, so the system has 3 options. First, seal, which means the output obeys all the laws and it's passed along to you. Second is sabar, which means patience. This gets issued for a soft law violation, like maybe the clarity's poor, and the AI is told to revise it and try again. And third, there's void. This is an outright rejection for violating a hard law, like trust. In this case, the system will just refuse to answer rather than give a harmful response.
Finally, how do we know the system is actually working the way it's supposed to?
That's where radical transparency and accountability come into play.
Every single decision made by the judge, every seal, every sabar, and every void is recorded in something called the cooling ledger. This creates a permanent, auditable trail. What it does, effectively, is turn the AI's decision-making process from an opaque black box into a transparent one that we humans can review and verify whenever we want.
So when you put it all together, the guardians, the laws, the verdicts, and the ledger, this entire structure isn't just about preventing errors. It's really about fundamentally changing our relationship with AI. It proposes a big shift away from a model of just blind faith in a black box to one of verifiable proof in a transparent system.
The system's motto really wraps up its core philosophy perfectly. It's a Malay phrase that means forged, not given. The whole idea is that true safety, trust, and truth, these aren't things that are just given to us by an AI. They have to be forged through a rigorous, transparent, and verifiable process. So the question that leaves us with is, will this become the standard for how we interact with all intelligent systems in the future?